Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Film Threat. A lot to talk about today. On the show, special guest, Dante James' Verbal Riot Show is going to help us review a film called The American Society of Magical Negroes. Plus, other films that are in theaters today. Let's take a look at this list. It is crazy. How many movies are opening in theaters? Arthur the King, The Primevals, Remembering Gene Wilder, a bunch of other movies. We're going to have a really good conversation. Plus, a lot of people are talking about this Sweet Baby Inc. situation. I have not weighed in, and I have a lot to say. Get ready for it. I'm going to reveal to you things you probably didn't know about me. And it's going to be a very interesting conversation. I have a lot of photos and graphics to show you and to walk you through. This isn't my first rodeo when it comes to gaming industry nonsense. Yeah, going to be fun. I was involved in a national controversy that broke out in the 90s about violence in video games. Oh, I have receipts. Can't wait to show you. Plus, Alan is here waiting in the wings, Ing the Merciless. Can't wait to talk to him because when I come on the show, I never have any idea what Alan is about to say. I mean, that's true for every time I talk to Alan. But when it comes to a movie, I don't know what Alan thinks about things until I talk to Alan. In fact, where is he? Let's get the show started. Let's get things. Plus your comments and questions and blah, 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 blah. All the stuff I say at the beginning of every show. Come on. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, God. What is going on here? Look what is happening.
By the way, when DEI comes after farts, you know it's over.
What are you talking about? Nope.
I'm so tired of the tactics of this mega woke company and its policies. That's why I will cover Gina Carano's legal cost against Disney. I am also very proud of Alan Ing from Film Threat and his D-files that expose more of this company's nonsense.
Alan! Love that cred.
Hey, man.
I love getting that cred. By the way, hit that like button. Follow us and subscribe. Follow on Rumble. Subscribe on YouTube. You just gotta mention that. Somehow people do it when you say it.
Smash that subscribe button. Lick the channel.
Lick that like.
Lick the like, but I have no idea. Oh my God. I still have no idea what's going on when it comes to how to be a good YouTuber. I have no idea. And so thank you for following us, the people that are here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. It's going to be, I was going through my magazine collection. I have a huge collection of magazines and I dug up some amazing stuff that I cannot wait to share. I've been sending graphics and doing, so this is going to be a sort of impromptu thing near the end of the show. And this came about because I was on Critical Drinkers show yesterday and someone said, well, Chris, you're not a gamer, and I'm like, oh, excuse me. And then I went through like the history of video games, including the first game I played when I was a kid, which was a text-based Star Trek game that my dad took me to his work. They had computers at his work. And I played a text-based, and I remember just being blown away when I was playing this video game and it said, you have left dry dock, the Starship Enterprise. I was so excited, but it's just text. You can still find those games, by the way. Lots to get into. Dante James is joining us in about 10 minutes. Let's go through the chat and see who's here because I'm happy you're sharing your Friday morning with us. Hey, Dr. Gonzo became a YouTube member. Wait, weren't you already a member, Dr. Gonzo? Did you just become a member again so I would say your name? I actually don't mind. That's totally cool. I appreciate it. Amanda the Wiki is also a new member. And Skull Leader 2016 has become a member. couple things here.
Yeah, we missed some super chats.
I missed some super chats. So super chats catch up from March 13th.
On Wednesday, yes.
On Wednesday, Trish Page for $19.99 and Trish Page for $199. Grr, I forgot to write my comment. See you in Vegas. Yes. A reminder that we are having a huge party in Vegas on Tuesday, April 9th. It's at the Millennium Fandom Bar. It is going to be at 7 p.m. till, well, probably going to go late. Just going to be
It's about 9:30, I guess.
Yeah, probably 9:30.
2 hours seems fine.
Alan and I will be there. I think Dante's going to be there. The link is in the description. I also shared it on the community tab. We are filling up, so make sure if you plan to be in Vegas on Tuesday, April 9th, come to the official Film Threat CinemaCon VIP Vegas meetup for A-listers only. There's no sarcasm in the title of that party. There's no sarcasm there, but there's a couple things that's happening. One, you can just like meet and hang out with us. Two, we're going to have a lot of Film Threat related giveaways. I have a giveaway related to Attack of the Doc. We're also going to be giving away Blu-rays. Lots of free stuff. It's also free. There's no cover charge. It's just, we need to get a head count. So go to the link in the description. Ms. P Coffee is going to share this link so that you can RSVP, join us. Glenn is going to clip this video as a short to remind people, but it's during CinemaCon starts on Monday and goes through the, middle of the week. And we just want to hang out with CinemaCon fans. We are making a huge announcement on that day. You will want to be there.
Yeah. Write this down real fast and you can RSVP.
Yeah. Just write it down. The link is really easy. Oh my God, Alan. that was good. Appreciate that. Hey, the nerd far away says, so my sister and I saw a trailer for today's thumbnail feature. We just looked at each other and said, what was that? Oh my God. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Fräulein Sausage Ball says this movie might have been kind of funny, interesting 20 years ago. We'll get into it. Christopher Moonlight Production says, good morning, gentlemen, and Ms. P Coffee. Just wanted to say that I've dropped the teaser for Escape from Planet Omega 12. Go to Christopher Moonlight Productions channel. Check out the trailer. Chris, send me the trailer. I think you have my email. I know you do. Send me the trailer. We'll post it on the Film Thread channel also. So I think the more, by the way, a movie trailer is a piece of advertising. And if you are a filmmaker, I have some advice for you. Let everyone run your trailer. Make sure you have copyright cleared music. And then in fact, if you are a indie filmmaker and your trailer goes on the Film Threat Trailers channel, I recommend that you do. Other channels steal from us constantly, but we want them to steal for us. These are other trailer channels. Mm-hmm. The point is, the more eyeballs on your trailer, the better if you're a filmmaker. So there you go. Big Rat Killer says, good evening, Chris Gore, the man with an annoying full head of hair. Okay. My mom always tells this story. And she said that when I was born, they called me the Beetle Baby because I had so much. The Beatles were popular at the time I was born. Don't look up that date, but the Beatles were very popular. And I had so much hair as a newborn that they called me the Beetle Baby because I had like this full head of hair. A lot of babies have like sort of wispy hair, like an old man. I had this like full head of hair as a child. So there you go. Hertz Donut says, nice t-shirt. I'll just show you what my t-shirt is. I think it's appropriate for today.
Do your team proud, Chris.
Hey, let's go. Come on. We did great at the Oscars. Let's go. Caucasians. This is clearly it's an ironic shirt. It's based on this shirt has been around.
Are you explaining the shirt?
to people who don't know? Look, I don't assume that everyone's a football fan. When I was a kid, the football team, the Washington Redskins, was a team that I watched and I was like, I don't know, like all these other teams that have like Indian mascots. It's all about, proud, the Chiefs, all these other teams that sort of celebrated. I always thought the Redskins was kind of borderline. I even thought it as a kid when I first started watching the NFL when I was like 11. It was always sort of, and look, I'm not a cancel, like when it comes to like, I don't care about stuff like that. I'm like, fine, if it exists, whatever. And people like love the Redskins as a team. This is sort of a parody of that, the Washington Redskins football team logo, but it's meant to be. I'm explaining the joke. Alan, stop me before I embarrass myself even more. Alan,
we get it. We got it when you stood up and showed us the shirt.
I know.
I will say, having lived in LA all my life, we have the Rams, the Lakers, and the Dodgers, which is iconic to LA. The Rams, the LA Lakes, and the Trolley Dodgers.
And hey, I want to do a proper welcome. I might as well just we're going through chats here. Verbal Riot Show is here.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Oh my God, I love the setup. You were telling me about it.
Yeah, dude, this new place I'm in right now, it's like this kind of a hole. I had to do a lot of makeshift, but no more green screen, thankfully. And yeah, hopefully the show's gonna look a lot better now.
Dude, it looks badass. Look at that new setup. Look at that.
It's all smoke. It's all smoke and mirrors, man.
Damn, it looks good. Oh man,
it's like your studio, Chris. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look as cluttered. I look like I'm having a yard sale behind me. You know what I mean? I got Batman stuff. I got Star Wars stuff. What do you want to buy?
And I have no room for clutter, so that's the thing. For me, it's like streamline is the way I have to do this now.
Sweet. Let me go through. There's some chat comments. I'm gonna go through anything unrelated to the
American Society film.
Yes, I accidentally called the movie The Magical Society of American, and then I just finished that statement. I feel oh God.
Yeah, it's the Magical Society of Negro Americans.
How did this? Anyways, let's put a pin in it for now. But I will say this, Dante, I really loved last night that we saw the movie earlier at an earlier screening, and we got to just hang out for a couple of hours after.
And you know what? I feel like I needed to do that, or we needed to do that, because I needed to process this movie, man. Like, and I'm still processing it right now. Like, I just, there's so many things about this movie that just pisses me off, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But
yeah, I felt the same way. I don't know why you two can't get along. That's all that's what I got out of it.
Let me go through these, and we're gonna pivot right directly. We're gonna dive right into our review. But hey, just want to thank our new member Skull Leader 2016 and Monsieur Dumbass 199. Thank you for that. And Paulie Latino Slant hung out with him last night. Says it took everything for me to not walk out of Assam. Oh, well, there you go. Thanks, Paulie. Love you, man. CD Stein 69 says I'm old enough to have played Zork when it came out on the old green screen text monitor and owned a Texas Instruments computer that had a tape deck as a storage device. I'm definitely considered old school. And Matthew Hammond. We'll get into anything related to the film we're about to review. We're going to do after. Right now, Marcus van der Geer says hi from the Netherlands, guys. And Davina Duckworth says the Film Thread Trailers channel has a huge diversity in content. Yeah, we're not trying to be like all the other trailers channels that just post all the mainstream studio trailers. We have some sort of other types of trailer, but it's like it's all over the map. Documentaries, horror films, dramas, comedies, even short film trailers, a lot of stuff. Thank you, Davina. Appreciate that. And Haggy5, whatever you do, so don't tell Chris he doesn't know about video games. He spent all stream listing every console, computer, and video game since 1970 because I owned them, because I was there. This is just a thing. This is just a nitpick of me just about life in general. When people make assumptions about other people and they don't know them, I didn't even know who that guy was that was on the stream. And I wasn't really properly introduced, although maybe I met him before. I don't know, but I don't like that. I don't like that people assume that I even think a certain way because of what I look like. I don't like that. And so I took umbrage, not a word you get to use. And I was just going to well, I'm going to go off. And I probably overdid it. Don't worry. I don't do a lot of things halfway. Pop Blender member for 2 months says, Chris, I sent you a PS5 friend request yesterday because of the drinker stream. Thanks for adding me. Can't wait to hear about the magical folk today. All right. And somebody says the Magical Society of Magical Dantes. There we go.
There you go.
And low underscores become a YouTube member. We appreciate it. All right. I'm saving any other related, Matthew Hammond, thank you. Saving any other related chats that relate to the movie we're about to talk about till later so we can respond to them in kind. But I think it's time, folks. It is time. It's time for us to talk about this movie. And I'm looking for something we can play here. That'll be
anything from Blazing Saddles would
it's
be.
all white.
I don't have anything from
It's all
Blazing
white stuff.
Saddles. Hang on a second.
Hey man, am I driving okay? I think we're parked, man. Oh shit.
What a classic.
Wow, that was the closest we could get to
I can't find
topic
anything.
at hand.
All right. It's time we talk about it. The American Society of Magical Negroes is been released in theaters. Something you should know about this movie. It was sitting on a shelf for 2 years. I was unaware of this, but I spoke to a friend who actually was at the screening with us last night, who saw the movie more than 2 years ago and remarked that, well, they actually didn't change anything about the film at all. It's the same as he saw 2 years ago, which tells me that they didn't make any changes. They thought that all right, that's it.
Well, what they're saying is that it's as timely today as it was 2 years ago.
I don't know that that's true, but
You know what? To Alan's point, look, this movie was all kinds of bad, but I think to Alan's point, I think it would have played better 2 years ago than it does right now. I'm not saying it would have done well. I'm just saying it seems dated. Am I wrong? It felt dated, right?
I honestly, it didn't feel dated to me. It felt like it still hits on the conversation we're having. I think 2 years ago, 2022, we were just getting back to theaters for the most part.
True, but that was also almost the height of woke. You know what I mean?
It was a year after the whole George Floyd demonstrations. When everyone was getting canceled and the black box. So it's a year after that. It was much tamer than I thought it would be, but it's still, the message is still there. I mean, it's CRT, but it's CRT, but buried just a little bit within the story.
Well, let's get into the basics of the story. If you've seen the trailer or not, and I'll tell you a little bit more. Character named Aaron, played by Justice Smith, he's an artist who made a piece of art with yarn. He's sort of a gangly, skinny wimp who, he may as well have been the person that you saw in the old comic strips where the strong man kicks sand in his face. That's this guy, Aaron. That's his character. And he's got very low self-esteem, which would make him potentially relatable to anyone. He has an encounter on the street, which could have gone badly, where a young woman is confused at the ATM and her boyfriend shows up being all, I'm going to save you. And a character named Roger comes in, played by David Allen Greer. And he's a nice older black gentleman who kind of solves the situation and calms things down. Aaron then is invited to be a part of the American Society of Magical Negroes, which is kind of like, I don't know, it's like Hogwarts but for magical black people, which is a legitimate and real trope that has appeared in so many movies.
No, Chris, you're missing a key part of that.
Oh,
Magical
please, yeah.
black people whose job is it to keep white people happy.
Right. Their
Otherwise,
job is-
we'll die if we don't keep white people happy.
Yeah. If white people aren't happy and the white tears, there's like a little meter that kind of shows up. They'll, yes, bad things happen to black people when white people aren't happy or white people are not comforted.
Yes.
So he's whisked off and suddenly becomes part of this society, and he has magical powers, although we only ever really see him use it like twice in the whole movie. He snaps his fingers, a computer appears, he snaps his fingers and then transports himself to New York City. So he really doesn't even use his powers. His powers are he just calms people down. But Aaron has very low self-esteem. He's teamed up with a guy. I don't even remember what the name of the character is. The buddy
Is Matt?
So,
I think it's Matt.
what's that?
Or I think it was Matt. I'll look it up.
Yeah. Okay. In any case, his buddy actually has a crush on a girl that Aaron already has a crush on, which kind of sucks. And it's his job to kind of like make this romance happen. It goes into romantic comedy land. The character that's played by the so-called work friend, it's like he's like an a-hole out of an 80s teen movie, like incredibly unlikable. I found him to be like caricature, as are most of the white people in the movie are just complete caricatures. So, and I was even saying to Dante before the film, it's like, look, if they make jokes about white people and they're funny and they're just funny jokes, who cares? But most of the comedy in this movie totally falls flat. And here's
a question though. Was it a comedy?
Right.
There were satirical moments that people in my theater laughed at.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way I can explain it.
There are legit some funny jokes in there, like
when they were making fun of white people laughed in my theater.
Well, the one thing is, there's one line I thought that got the biggest laugh out of the audience was, "Oh my, he colonized my crush," because it was kind of making fun of that colonizing term and how people overuse that, and then it was good alliteration. I'm a fan of alliteration. Okay, so if you see the trailer,
Sorry, the guy's name is Jason. The guy's name is Jason. So
Jason. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jason is let's just say he's just not a good friend, but he sees Aaron as a friend, right? I mean, it's a typical romantic triangle. He has to do the right thing and basically get the lead actress. What's her name?
Lizzie.
Lizzie is the character.
Yeah,
but he likes her too. So it's like a love triangle. But if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, everyone in the society will lose their powers. Now, I have questions, and I want to hear, first of all, just to encapsulate, this is a terribly thought out film. I think if there was actually a society of, quote, magical Negroes, why do they give a crap what white people think about anything? Wouldn't they be going off doing other things in the world if they actually had those magical powers? So that was sort of like top of mind with me, is like, couldn't they do a lot better than giving a crap what white people think about anything? Like how is that?
But Chris, you're missing the point. If we don't keep white people happy, we'll die.
Right. That's at least what the movie says. But this movie seems so out of touch. And there's this whole speech at the end, and we have to have like almost a separate conversation about that speech. That seems like it's completely ignored a lot of history, and it's about kind of like the history of now of a certain type of person in college that feels nervous around white people.
Yeah, guess what? That's the Barbie speech.
It's the Barbie speech in this movie. It was so like out of, and the thing is this, I can imagine that the people involved in making this movie, and I mean the white executives that said, yeah, definitely make this. They didn't want to question anything, and they didn't want to give any feedback or notes out of fear that like they may come off as racist.
But what's weird is that the guy who wrote and directed this movie is not black.
Right.
So
What?
you know. Here's the thing. I realized this when I woke up this morning. This wasn't a black movie. This was a Gen Z movie.
Yes.
This had nothing to do with black people at all. And I guarantee you, black people are not going to like this film. They're just
sure
not.
he's not black?
So again, it begs the question, and I kept asking it yesterday, who is this movie for?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you
Who was
sure
this
he's
movie
not black?
for?
Sorry, I got to point out. He could be black.
I think he may be mixed. I'm looking on IMDb.
He's mixed at best.
But he's a
Well,
I mean, even the lead character in the film,
Is
played
half
by
black.
Justice. Yeah.
his mother is white. He says his mother is white.
Justice Smith. Yeah, he says my mother's white. So okay. But like this movie seemed tone deaf. And I'm all for like, let's be funny and let's make jokes about our current state of race in the United States. But let's be honest. The thing is, comedy comes from honesty. This movie, I believe, is dishonest. And you're right, Dante. This movie is about Gen Z and the sort of the weird, this is sound weird thing to say, soft racism of Gen Z.
Yeah.
Everything is about identity. And it's more Gen Z than anything else. I mean, look, the best thing making fun of the quote magical Negro trope, that was done by Key and Peele in one of their, I mean, first of all, there are so many great Key and Peele sketches. Those guys were so in tune, so like knew the zeitgeist. No surprise that Jordan Peele, is such a prominent director at the level he's at. Go watch their magical Negro Key and Peele sketch.
Oh, it's so much better. It's so much better.
It's so funny because it's making fun of the trope, how dumb it is. And it's two quote magical Negroes fighting. And they get in this big like wizard battle and it's hilarious. And it's like, oh yeah, that is a dumb trope that we've seen in a million movies. And it also is kind of stupid.
You know what? My thing is, all is forgiven if it's funny. This was not funny, man. Like we were like, I don't know about you, but I was cringing so hard I was making claw marks in the on the sides of my seat because it was just so bad. And you know what it felt like? It literally felt like I was reading a TL of Black Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Everything I heard in that movie, I have read on Black Twitter.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a documentary at South by Southwest called Black Twitter.
Oh God.
Oh, see, I would actually watch that. I would watch it. Wait, I have to change our arrangement so that it's okay, good. I'm at the bottom now. Because we're just ranking in terms
of you there. Are you
yeah,
happy
wait,
now?
You're above me though, Alan, right? Okay.
I mean, I could have just used my magic, Chris, but I was going to leave that up to you. But I want you to be happy. Otherwise, I'll die.
Yeah. Oh, I don't feel safe if Chris is not happy. Hey, I'll tell you my biggest problem with the movie right from the start. I don't buy the premise of the movie, and when you don't buy the premise of the movie, it makes for a very bad movie going experience. Just the idea that that the magical Negro keeps white people happy so they're safe. There's so much to that I just don't buy and I don't believe in, that it makes it hard for me to give this movie credibility. The other thing is when Aaron is this awkward kid who feels unseen at his art exhibit, he has to blame white people for the way he is.
Exactly.
White people is the reason he's awkward. White people are the reason he's gangly and tall and doesn't have a healthy self-esteem. You have to buy into that for this entire movie to work, and I just couldn't buy into that.
And not to mention how unlikable that, at least the character was. I mean, I haven't seen that actor in other films, so I'm not going to judge his work. Yeah. I don't know if he's a good actor or a bad actor, to be honest with you. But
yeah, I mean, he's fine. I don't remember anything bad he's done. But the Lizzie character was much more charismatic than he was.
Yeah,
right.
That was the character you want to root for.
She was the only likable thing about the film, which is weird to say about a movie about magical black people.
Right. Look,
is there sound going on in the background?
Sorry, what?
I'm hearing some kind of sound in the background.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know what that is. I don't hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, chat's commenting on it too.
There is a sound in the background. I don't hear it.
Okay.
I heard it, but I don't know where it's coming from. Checking my computer, I don't see anything open on my end.
I'm prepping my next sec. Sorry, I'm doing something. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an OS system sonar. Okay. I don't hear it. I hear it.
Okay, it's gone now. But yeah,
Okay.
I was hearing it.
All right. Look, I'm all for funny. To me, Blazing Saddles might be the best comedy ever about race.
Yep, I agree.
Richard Pryor was one of the writers on it. It just totally is. And also the reason it gets big laughs, comedy comes from truth. And I think that a lot of the arguments in current day about a lot of the ills of society are dishonest. They are just straight up dishonest. So what the movie does is the movie makes certain assumptions about how, quote, everyone thinks and sort of hangs all the jokes on that, except everyone doesn't think this way. And that's why so much of the movie comes off as, frankly, awkward. It comes off as awkward.
But also, it just felt like this movie didn't want to commit to anything, right? Like, if you're going to do this, you got to lean in hard. You got to just be like, okay, we're doing a movie about magical black people, right? And just lean into that. But it literally started out that way and just became a completely different, weird movie.
Well,
again, and not about black people, about a weird Gen Zer who's awkward, and there was never any growth from him, like ever throughout the film, because there was a point where he gets accepted into the society, and you never see him actually go all in. You know what I mean? You never see him become, the guy who's good at his job, who's making all these different white people happy. They just leaned into this one love story, and it became a completely different film.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? The problem with the movie is that it assumes you buy into its premise.
Yes.
And so it got lazy about it because now all the jokes being made from a standpoint that you believe white people are the most evil race in the world, and that for minorities in America, we're always being kept down because of white people. And unless you believe that, then none of these so-called jokes works. And this is ultimately why I think this movie will fail. I as much as the media likes to push this narrative on us, I think most of us don't believe that. I don't know. How full was your screening? I'm just curious.
When I got the tickets originally for Dante and I, it was like 5 people in the theater, and it was actually maybe 20% full. 20-25%. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it wasn't full, but there were more people there than I thought there would be.
Yeah, I mean, look, I consider it full when every seat is taken except the first 2 rows, the front.
Right.
Oh yeah, not even close.
And mine was full. Mine was full, and I think the audience was half African American, half black. I'll just say it that way.
Wait, your screening was full?
Yeah, it was.
And
That's
so
it
wasn't a big theater. It wasn't the big theater, but at least 100 seats.
Wow. Surprising.
Yeah.
I question, Hollywood used to at least espouse a morality that we could all agree upon, right? We could all agree upon like
racism bad.
Huh?
Like racism bad,
Racism is bad. That's sort of like, I think that the majority of people have that opinion.
But you know what, Chris? They weren't preachy back then. They're preachy
Right.
now. This movie was preachy.
Yeah.
It was so preachy. That final speech is what lost me. The final speech was just like, I mean, look, it lost me just because it was like just not working. The concept didn't work, but it made me miss, like, I got in a whole conversation with Sin's Corner's brother, Tim. We were talking about the movie The Postman. And like how, look, I don't know what people think about the movie The Postman with Kevin Costner. It's going to be a stretch for me to make this relate to it, but I'll say this, that the thing I liked about the movie was the lead character who was patriotic. He wanted to bring a semblance of America back by delivering mail to bring back some he was self-sacrificing. He had all these sort of, you could call them check boxes of being a hero. He cared more about others than he did about himself. I remember just like, we don't have heroes like this now. The heroes of today, characters like Justice Smith, he was willing to just destroy the entire society and all the quote good, whatever you think in the fictional world of the movie, they did good. He just wanted to wipe that away because he was so selfish. He wanted to be with a girl.
But that's Gen Z.
Gen Z is so
that's
selfish.
Gen Z.
They don't, this is not a hero you look up to. These are characters that are not likable. Not only was the lead character, Aaron, played by Justice Smith, unlikable, the guy he was supposed to help was equally unlikable. He was like a villain from an 80s teen comedy.
But so it's also like what Alan said, though. It's like, this guy, let's just be real. He wasn't a manly guy, right? I mean, he just wasn't. Like on any kind of level. He's like a typical femme Gen Z kind of guy. And instead of just saying, it's okay, if he'd have made some kind of, character growth towards the end where he becomes this confident guy, that would have been kind of cool, right? But the continual blaming of white people for why he is the way he is, it made no sense, right? It made no sense. You're that way because you're that way, not because white people made you that way.
Because I hate to break it to you, white people, I've met white people who felt awkward about themselves, who felt like they didn't belong, who had low self-esteem. It's not, these are not feelings and emotions that are strictly, reserved for minorities. Everyone feels these things. And that's why that speech at the end, that speech doesn't apply just to Black people.
No,
the Barbie speech, everything that America Ferrera says in the Barbie speech doesn't apply strictly to women. Men feel that way. White people feel that way. Everyone feels that way. That's, in fact, if you're human, at some point you're going to feel these ways, and you're not going to grow if you don't personally learn for yourself to overcome these things. Instead, if you're going to start blaming other people for your perceived weaknesses, then you'll never grow in life.
Well, it goes back to the Spider-Man, right? For me, it's we need Spider-Man to be Black now so he could represent young Black kids today, as if young Black kids back in the day couldn't relate to Peter Parker being weird in high school, being the outsider in high school, being the guy who couldn't get the girl, like we couldn't relate to that character, right? We couldn't relate to Peter Parker because he's white. It makes zero sense.
That was the whole point of Peter Parker, was that he was an awkward teen who got superpowers, and that was basically the first 200 issues of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, exploring those kind of ideas, where he ultimately finds his confidence over time and not from the start. He was not a confident kid at the very beginning,
right? And he was white, so why wasn't he super confident? Because all white people are super confident, right? Mm-hmm. But no, he was a nerd, and other nerds of every color and culture could relate to Peter Parker.
Well, because Peter Parker was poor. He had to
poor,
work.
Yes,
he had no parents.
His
parents were dead.
He had no parents. His aunt and uncle were taking care of him. He was effectively an orphan. Then, he was poor. He had to work a job, while he was in college. He was a nerd. He was
bullied by the football players.
Yeah. Like, exactly.
Oh, and by the way, in the Black community, man, especially like 70s, 80s, well, more in the 80s, there was a big influx of Black kids being raised by their grandparents because their parents were, out of commission. I was raised by my grandparents. So the fact that Peter Parker was being raised by his aunt was even more relatable to Black kids during that time.
Yeah, it's all right. So we have the chat is on fire. So we're going to get to our chat comments and questions, but sort of bottom line, final thoughts. We are going to continue because we have so many chat comments. Final thoughts. I'll just say this. I can't recommend this movie. I think it does a disservice to the current conversation about race. And I personally believe the current conversation about race is completely dishonest, at least as framed by the mainstream media. And this movie doesn't help anything. It doesn't help advance that conversation. If anything, it continues to promote bad ideas and it's insecure Gen Z low-key racism. That's what this film is. Final thoughts from you guys, and I can't recommend it.
I mean, I'll just add that it's all rooted in critical race theory. Just the idea that white people are inherently racist, and that there's, you know, if your skin is white, you're racist, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's exactly what this movie is. Yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, Alan. No, I'm sorry. My apologies, Alan. My apologies. Dante, your final thoughts, and we're gonna
really quick. So for me, if you guys are expecting some kind of, you know, well thought out commentary on today's, you know, social issues, then you're going to be disappointed. If you're expecting just an entertaining movie, you're going to be disappointed. If you're expecting intelligent writing, you're going to be disappointed. So absolutely not. Don't watch this film unless you have just hours of your life to waste. Or if you're Gen Z and you can relate to what, you know, this movie is about, then fine, go watch it. But this movie, again, I'm still going to keep asking this question: who is it for? Because it's not for Black people.
And but the special effects are pretty good, and if you are into making yarn shirts, you're gonna love it.
By the way, did you notice how clean LA was?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the other thing we were commenting on the movie was like, oh wow, they're showing parts of LA you don't normally see, like the Arts District. It didn't show homeless tents.
I'm sorry, we're talking the east side of downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah,
that's primarily where this entire movie was shot.
Right,
it's very clean. I suppose it was shot during COVID. That's why it was clean.
Yeah. Hey, so that's the bottom line on the movie. Real quick, we're gonna go to chat comments and questions. Dante, do I have your permission to wear that thing I showed you? Just during the comments.
Wait, which thing?
You know what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
I can't. You want me to give you permission?
You know what? You know what, Chris? I'm blanking right now, but I give you full permission.
Okay, great. All right.
All right. What did you want? What were you saying to me?
Read the super chat. Start with Matthew Hammond.
Okay. All right. Hey, super chats here. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. I'm so upset with the American Society of Magical Negroes is not playing in a theater near me. I guess I will need to sail the high seas. Yes, I find that very racist. Haggy has become a new YouTube member. Welcome aboard. Let me grab these. Moving on to a Skull Eater 2016 for $20. Thank you so much. Why did Negro become bad? They used to have National Negro College Fund on TV all the time. By the way, in late 70s, my mom took me to work and I played Star Trek on the Wang. Oh, yeah.
All right, hang on a sec. I gotta
go
full. Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah, folks, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's get those super chats. Here we go. All right.
Like I said, man, you got to lean in.
I know.
Gonna lean in.
Yeah. Here's to racial unity. Thanks.
Right. Oryx 221 for 10 says, "Hey, been tuning into your streams for a year, and I want to say thank you for all you do. Love your honest, no BS takes on all things film. Your friendship / humor chemistry brings it all together." Well, thanks. I mean, here's the thing. I will say this: Dante, Allen, and I genuinely hang out in real life. Like, at least I see Dante at least once a week. In fact, we're going to a movie tonight, which I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, you too.
We're going, and we might meet Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney's going to be at a screening of Immaculate at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, and Dante and I have tickets. We're going tonight. I love the guy who does this, Joey's Dots. I love it. It's a film threat chain. I'll probably wear this in Vegas. Thank you for all the generous super chats. Immortal Remus for 199 pounds says, "Just saw the new Crow trailer. It looks terrible." I don't think anybody disagrees with that. It looks so bad. JJKK says, "Hail Chris and Ing the Merciless. By the way, can anyone confirm if buying a ticket for this movie gives you the N-word pass, or do you have to buy that separately like the Dune popcorn bucket?"
Oh, yes, it does give you the pass. In fact, buy your ticket and start using the N-word.
See how that goes. See how that goes in your screening. Shucksy says that's why Dante has to keep Chris happy during the stream.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll die. And other Black people will die.
Don Max says Uncle Remus in The Song of the South was the OG magical Negro, yet Disney doesn't want to let us watch this historically significant film. I remember loving that movie as a kid because the songs and the mix of animation and real people,
stories,
the stories, I didn't think for a minute, like, I don't know. I just thought I really liked this movie. I don't know. Anyone want to comment on that?
And by the way, that movie was the least of Disney's dirty little secrets back then. So, like, the fact that they targeted this movie is kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Disney went out of his way to get James Bucket an Oscar for it. He wasn't nominated for it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Disney lobbied to get him an Oscar. He was the first black man to win an Oscar ever.
Well, the first black woman was Hattie McDaniel for Gone with the Wind. Thank you, Don Mac. Eric Henson, member for 14 months. This sounds like it should have been an episode of the Boondocks. I'm gonna go with super chats first here. Yeah. Malik Gurley for 5 says, now it's time for Alan's to see himself in the sequel, The Academy of Arcane Asians.
Love it. Love it.
Well, they do.
I would watch that movie.
They do a little girl boss thing at the very end.
Yeah, but that just felt like a tag. Because I kept thinking, what did she do to deserve what she to do?
Nothing.
Yeah, it was just a joke as a joke. There was nothing leading up to it.
But they might be building their cinematic universe, Alan.
Anna, that Star Wars girl, says, sounds like they took Hitler talking points and switched the races. Low. Shout out to Anna. We were talking about her last night. We were hanging out with Baggage Claim was with us. We had like a group of like 20 people. It was fun. Mike MC Wong says the 7 p.m. showing last night at AMC Burbank was pretty full too. Yeah. Surprising.
That's shocking to me, man.
I think people are bored.
Wow. Extremely generous.
Hey.
From Kevin Huntz says, geez, Chris, check your privilege. How dare you talk to Black experience? Joke. Do you think this is a communist hack to make white people say Negro to call them racist? I don't know. I mean, there's I play MLB The Show. It's a really good baseball game on the PS5. And they have the Negro leagues in there as like a selectable team. And they still call them that, or trading card. I don't know. My grandparents, my grandparents also, in effect, because my parents got divorced when I was young, they kind of raised me also. They were like my surrogate parents. And they always used the term colored people, but it's just because the era in which they grew up. But they just loved their neighbors. They were nice to everybody. And I learned from that. But they use that term, and that would be considered not a good term. Like, I think those terms change with eras.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say in the 70s, that's kind of when the transition came between from Negro to Black. Because I think they started using Black on All in the Family, and that's kind of where I think that term kind of stuck.
Even the term African American doesn't seem, because what if someone is British? They're not an African American,
or Canadian, or from the Caribbean.
Canadian, or I know you got to go shortly, Dante, but stick around because I want to see if there's questions for you. Thank you, Kevin.
Also, wait, I want to answer that question,
please.
By the way, and this is how I feel about any use of that word. If artists are going to put that in their lyrics, if they're going to put that in their movie titles, then you have every right to say it, because they're expecting your money, right? They want you to buy that material. So if they're going to put it in there, and by the way, I hate the word. I mean, not Negroes, that's fine, but the N word, right? Even with the A. I've always hated that word. I feel like, and I have used it. There's times where, what's funny is the whole code switching thing, where Black people have to change the way they talk. Like, me code switching was me being in the hood and having to code switch to them, not me having to code switch to other people, right? Because I was raised by a pretty, college educated family. And so for me, speaking hood was me having to do that to survive where I lived, right? So I've always hated the word, but if they're going to put it in their lyrics, in their movie titles, and they're expecting your money, then yeah, you can say it all you want in the context of that, because they put it in there for, publicly. So yeah, go ahead and say it.
But you remember when LA tried to have Ebonics in school?
Oh, they're still trying to do that,
that's
by the way. They're
right.
still trying to, right now in California, they're still trying to push that.
Yeah. Hannibal Grimm for 5 says, coming to a theater near you, the American Society of Dying Ben Parkers.
You know, NWA, right? It's in the name of the name of their group. They are called Niggas with Attitude. So I'm sorry. Yes, if you're going to go buy their CD, you have every right to ask for that title.
Well, now that you said that, we've just been demonetized. So what can we say?
Oh no, but I'm black saying it, right? So
Yeah.
if they strike you for that, that's wild.
Yeah. Well,
they still let you keep your black card.
I just want to say we've got a lot more chats.
By a hair.
You gotta leave. You gotta leave shortly, Dante. I don't want to, but please subscribe to Verbal Riot Show. Ms. P Coffee is going to put the link in the description,
and I'm going to be doing a whole show about this today. So
please subscribe to Verbal Riot Show, Dante's channel. He's doing his own review. He's going to do his own stream about it. We want to get Dante monetized. Dante's been on a bunch of shows. He's been, on our show, and we want to. I love your perspective, Dante. We've been friends now. I just think about this for like 7-8 years now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It might have been. I'm trying to think.
Actually, longer, but I think before we were just kind of acquaintances, and then
right.
Yeah.
It was when you came to the Film Threat party in 2017 January.
Oh, the relaunch, yeah.
The relaunch. That was dude, that party was crazy.
Oh, that was a good time.
We put on a good party. MM, who's a member for 10, says, I saw 2 world films this month, Malari and The Peasants. Malari was a Filipino horror movie, and Peasants was a rotoscoped Polish oil painting. Both were worth my time and money. Cinema lives. Most of the films that I like are not from the United States or not even made by American filmmakers. Darkness became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Warvan Eagle TV for $4.99 says David Alan Grier would have been more magical if he had reprised the role of Don No Soul Simmons from Amazon Women on the Moon. Great work, gents. We appreciate that. Thank you. And Krizik says, for 5, Chris, nice to see you wearing authentic attire. I sent Gary the same vestments. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Aaron Sleeper for $4.99 says, Chris, the postman was none of those things at first. He found a dead postman, took up the mantle to get a free meal. He grew into that character. Well, yes, I was giving my 2-minute synopsis of my memory of a movie I haven't seen in 20 years. But my point was about his character. He was filled with courage, bravery. He was someone to look up to. And there is a severe lack of heroes that show courage at movies, but there's a ton of wimpy idiots like Aaron's character in the film that we saw. But
the new heroes are the ones that can give great speeches.
Right. Hey, another generous 20 from Carnell. Hey, love you, Carnell. It wasn't a comedy or drama, nor did it serve as entertainment. It's a soulless Hollywood commentary starring self-loathing white folk positioning themselves as allies and black folk who want some type of pity for being black. Bingo. And
I think he's black, though. I'm gonna say I think the right director is black.
Right, but what I'm saying is I want to hear authentic stories. Mm-hmm. There was actually a trailer for a movie that we saw that I only caught like a glimpse of, but looked like that's the movie that I want to see. It was called We Grown Now. And it was about a bunch of kids growing up, and they're like little kids, like 8-9 years old. And I thought, well, that's a movie I'll go see because it just seems more honest about a young black child's experience. That seems interesting to me. It also seems more indie, more authentic, rather than this movie. So I don't know if you remember that trailer from last night.
Oh yeah, no, I do. And the problem with this movie is that it's just phony. It's phony on every level.
Yeah. Thank you, Carnell. Always appreciate your commentary. Dante, even Gen Z might reject this movie, says Joseph.
I mean, it's a possibility, but that's who it is for, though. It is for them. It's not for anybody outside of Gen Z.
Yeah, it's for the Gen Z influencer, basically.
Yeah. Sons and Shadows says it's a human thing, not a black thing, not a white thing. Yeah, I actually thought why are they making this character so very relatable? Like everyone can relate to being awkward in a social situation. They just are.
Yeah. To kind of be a wallflower in a room.
Yeah, like so. Oh my God, Kevin,
Hey,
for 100.
Wow.
Heck yeah, good answer. Thanks, man. I'm Irish, and they call us green ends, big noses, and subhuman. Free speech, no woke. I'll say this, Kevin. I'm also part Irish. So I get it. But when I was a kid growing up in Michigan, I was my family's Polish. Grandparents Polish and Russian. We ate Polish food, and I was very proud of my Polish heritage. We ate like pierogis and gumpki and all this like very Polish food, a lot of cabbage, a lot of farting.
yeah.
But
Well, American history. I mean, we talked about Cabrini last week about the prejudice against Italians, prejudice against Irish. I mean, this is the history of not just America, but of the entire world. People hate people who are not like them.
Well, a lot of the people, came to the United States from Poland, obviously early 1900s, which is when my family came here, fleeing Europe. And they all worked for the auto companies because they said, hey, we'll hire you. But all I endured through school was Polish jokes. They called them Polak jokes. How many Polaks does it take to screw in a light bulb? I mean, I just endured it. And I was just like, well, it doesn't bother me because I'm really proud of being Polish,
Reminds me of the if you were here at Disney's California Adventure, there was the Story of California, and it talked about the diverse history of California. And when the Chinese segment came out, it was these two Chinese father and son mine workers who got blown up in this movie.
Oh my God!
Yeah, thanks Disney.
Bill S. Preston Esquire says the true magical people in the film were the homeless because they vanished.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's true.
I mean, the area they shot is just full of homeless, and it was clean.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Zero Hunter X5 says, can't wait for the sequel, The American Society of Magical Drag Queens, where they need to keep conservatives happy.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
That would be I actually think drag queens can be funny. I think now that it's being pushed, it's sort of annoying now. I liked when it was like a cool, just counterculture itself has just sort of disappeared, which kind of sucks. But
the problem is when they started pushing it on children.
Yeah, that was the problem. It had nothing to do. I love Glenn Milstead Divine, who's in many John Waters movies, one of my favorite drag queens ever, and is genuinely funny and a performer. And I've been to drag queen brunch on Santa Monica at Hamburger Mary's. It's fun, and I don't want children in a room with drag queens because I want drag queens to feel comfortable doing blue humor. I want them to feel comfortable being as raunchy as possible because that's part of the fun.
Yeah, it's an exploration of sexuality. That's what these drag shows are, and nothing wrong with that. It's just not appropriate for children.
Yeah, for an adult audience, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, time and place, right?
Yeah, love it. 8Ellis24. I want to say shout out to everyone on Rumble. We're being featured on Rumble, and we thank the people on Rumble that.
Hey, Chris, I got to go. Sorry.
Oh, you got to run. Okay,
I got a hard.
All right,
clock,
Dante.
so.
Subscribe to Verbal Riot Show. Thank you, Dante, for joining us today.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll be in Vegas.
I'll see you later tonight at on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yep. See you guys
later, man. Okay, cool. Take care. All right.
I bet you Sydney Sweeney is gonna wear a sexy poncho.
All right, I'm gonna take off the chains from Joey Dots.
Okay.
And,
Sean Hu for 742. Now I want pierogies and kielbasa.
I loved kielbasa with mustard. I ate it all the time as a kid. See, I can't. I have to take off. I have to take it off. If I don't have Dante here, I don't have permission. So there you go. Thank you, Sean Hu. From Rumble, want to shout out all the people on Rumble that are watching us. We appreciate it. 8Ellis24, always a good commenter, says Polish and Irish. No wonder Chris has some thick skin. His grandparents certainly passed that down. Yeah, my grandfather was in the Navy in World War II, and he was tough. He was just tough. And, I was told on the playground to fight my own battles, and been in some fights, actual physical fights, not microaggressions. I mean, fist fights. Okay. Been there. So when something will come up, I just don't, I don't care. So there you go. Thank you, 8Ellis24, who goes on to say, what's its Rotten Tomatoes score? 110%? Alan, can you look that up? I'm going to
Yeah,
keep reading these while you look up the Rotten Tomatoes. Let's look it up. Watch American Fiction instead, says Alan Horkin.
Absolutely.
And Ray Durazo says, what speech is worse, this or Barbie? I actually think this speech is worse. I think it does more damage. It does damage in the sense that it's spreading bad ideas, like that microaggressions are something to be offended by. And I feel like when you reach a point, this is what we joke amongst each other all the time. Al and I joke on the stream. You know, when I hang out with Dante, we're always making jokes about stuff. You reach a point where like none of that stuff matters. I'm friends with a person because we connect on certain levels that have to do with who we are, you know, inside, which has nothing to do with, you know, what we look like. It has to do with things we connect with in terms of sense of humor or ideals that we share. Alan agrees with everything I'm saying.
Yes, you are all exalted. Your words are supreme.
Well, I think Alan and I bonded over we both just really love movies and love movies that aren't traditional mainstream movies necessarily. Anyway,
I'll say this, the Barbie speech was better written.
It was better written. Yeah.
Sorry,
JTP RX. Let's look Rotten Tomato store. Oh,
29%.
Critics are at 29% with only 38 reviews.
38 reviews.
Oh, that's slow. That is low. Wow. No audience score yet. Now, here's the thing. Why does that movie only have 38 reviews? Shouldn't it have like 100?
Well, it just came out yesterday. These are probably the Sundance reviews.
Right.
Yeah. Aisha Harris didn't like it.
What's that?
Like it. Aisha Harris didn't like it from NPR. Josh Parham from Next Best Movie doesn't like it. Here we go. Frustrating but ultimately rewarding from East Bay Express. Of course, from the East Bay. Weekend Warrior. Charming and witty debut from Libby that avoids some of the tonal issues of American fiction, but brings a lot to the table as far as his own social satire. Well done, sir. Are you muted?
No. I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Please keep reading this.
Yeah, Julian Roman, then American Society of Magical Negroes cleverly satirizes an age-old Hollywood trope before running out of steam in a somewhat labored third act. Kobe Libby addresses thorny and divisive themes with a whimsical touch. I guess some people have low standards for comedy.
Paulie says it was at 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has dropped to 29%.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. Yeah, I think it looks like 15 reviews came in since Sundance. So, last night really brought the score down.
JTP RX, microaggressions is the dumbest thing ever created for young and dumb soft peeps. It's the concept of microaggressions makes you weak. Make you weak because it makes you. This is the way I view stuff like this. I don't want to be. I'm not going to be controlled by you. I'm not going to be controlled by you. I will choose when. And this is what bothers me is when people also try to label me. It's like you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that at all. You don't get to call me. You know, just like and if you are so easily manipulated by other people, whether they call you a name or whether they do a thing that makes you weak, it makes you weak. So what are your thoughts?
I'll tell you this. When I was a kid, I dealt with actual aggression. I can handle microaggression. In fact, yeah. It's
but even the thing of like I was talking to Baggage Claim and there's like we were talking about just like the whole concept of microaggression. It's just like she could easily overreact to people things that they ask her like, hey, where are you from? And she'll just be honest and say, you know, and I think it's because people are interested, not because you have to look at what the person's intent is. If I ask Alan where Alan's from, and he would probably say somewhere in Orange County or whatever.
Yeah, I used to get that a lot. It's like, where are you from? And it was always Los Angeles.
But I think it's because people are interested. They're not trying to hurt you. They want to get to know you.
Yeah, they're trying to strike up a conversation. They're trying to
Right.
know you. They're trying to learn something new that they hadn't experienced before in their life. They
Yeah,
want to
and that's a
experience
good
the world
thing.
from a different perspective. And so sometimes when they ask you where you're from, it's a genuine question, and it's an opportunity for you to brag about your culture, to brag about your upbringing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, JTPRX.
Now, when
Right
they say
here.
go back where you came from, that's a different thing.
Let's see. Cedric Myers says, sounds like a movie written by a privileged mixed race guy justifying his black side at the expense of his white side by overcompensating with insincere virtue signaling identity politics. I feel like no one stopped him from taking a step back and thinking about this. It felt, it just, no, I don't think there was anyone, he was surrounded by anyone that just said, are you sure you want to be saying these things in a movie?
Well, I can tell you, it was probably greenlit without notes.
Well, without notes that would have helped the movie.
Yeah.
And Aaron Taylor, thank you. Adversity is the key to personal growth. Confronting challenges, actually being challenged.
Mhm.
Yeah, a microaggression is not a challenge. That's just, and sometimes people can be rude, and that's okay. Like they just like, that's fine, but like that's okay because that's human.
Well, it's that idea again that white people are inherently racist, and there's nothing they can do about it. And microaggressions are a way to point that out in a way that's not authentic in any way.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Aaron Taylor, who's a member.
Yeah.
Norm McDonald said the key to impressions in comedy was empathy for the one you're making a joke at. You have to appreciate something about them. You can't find the funny if you hate them, says Toby Pegram. Yeah, thank you. That's a really great one.
And that's Saturday Night Live's problem right now. They hate people they don't agree with politically, and that's how their jokes come across.
Yeah. From Rumble, Joe Kuhn says, did I say Joe Kuhn? I did say that.
Wow,
Joe
that's
Kuhn?
a microaggression right there.
Is that if I say Joe Kuhn, is that a microaggression?
Well, what's the emphasis on the un that that's the microaggression.
The name is Joekun, and I just blurted out Joe Kuhn. I have a friend named Jeremy Kuhn. He's a filmmaker. Look him up. He produced Napoleon Dynamite. I found the movie amusing. It's absurd and has a Barbie-style eye-rolling speech. Don't agree with the message, but I laughed. Fair point. I mean, I will say that I can't say I didn't laugh during some of it. I just felt the premise was a bit ridiculous and dishonest.
Well, if we're going to make comparisons to Barbie, what it needed was a Ken character.
Right. Is Gen Z even going to the movies, lol, says Matt S. Spider Geronimo says American fiction did better race satire. Thank you, Spider Geronimo. What does Criticless say about it? Says Two Penny Puppet. I don't know, but Criticless is more of a social network where you can review movies. It's probably too early because the movie only started screening yesterday, but we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Criticless. Go to criticless.com. You can post, you know what? Everyone here in the chat can post their own review on Criticless. So go to criticless.com and check it out there.
Here it is. It's 20%, only one voter. So here's how easy Criticless is. I can do my review. Let's give it I'll give it a 20%. Sure.
August.
Yeah, graphic language. Yeah. Like violence, not really anything violent. No nudity.
No, none.
Political bias, very left. Family friendly, no. Not a well thought out satire. We'll go with that. And then I can add
you can add your review from this. You can add the video even.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Okay.
And there you go. That's how easy Criticless is. So sign up for Criticless.
But here's what I like even better. It's not just movie critics. It's just anyone who has an opinion about a movie.
Yeah. And you didn't have to write a full out review. You could just give it a score and then give your opinion about it through these little levers here. So
Wow.
yeah,
See, I haven't done that yet. I feel bad. I did start my account.
it's really easy. I mean, you could put in 10 reviews quickly through Craigslist.
Ellen, do you follow me on Criticless?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Hey, there I am. I'm that Chris Gore on Criticless, and you're my pal Al.
Yes.
Right. Hey, thank you for that comment. Reminds me to,
To promote our sponsor. Yeah.
promote our sponsor. We appreciate them. Mike MC Wong, who should have an account on Criticless, says
Absolutely.
all of those critics are cowards. They probably see the others dropping bad reviews, and that allowed them to dump on the movie without fearing reprisals.
Well, I mean, we'll ultimately get a review on it.
Oh no. Taker 6610 for $2 says, who wins, Ing the Merciless or Kang the Jobless? I don't know. I love Dante and I've been friends for so long. We hang out a lot and just do fun shit. I don't know.
Dante Kang the Jobless?
Dante is he's freelance right now, so he had to go for an interview. So there you go. It happens, man. Hey, YouTube is a great hobby. It takes a while to get to a point where you scale it, where you can actually make a living from it. But thank you. That's great. Oh no, Kang the Jobless. I'll tell Dante that. He'll laugh. If he was here, he would laugh. Thank you. Mike Wait for 5 says Guinan from Star Trek was one of my favorite characters and very aspirational. Hope the both of you have a great weekend. Mike from Seattle. I liked Guinan, and at first it was just like, what? She's this alien in a bar, but then she always added something. I liked her in that role.
Yes. She was magical on that show.
Right, she was magical in a way, but
this is the thing about Star Trek. The comment here about aspirational. That's what was great about Star Trek up until Deep Space Nine. After that, it became political,
kind of political and dark, if you ask me. So
maybe Enterprise. I don't know, how was Enterprise woke at all?
Enterprise? I only watched a little bit of it. I don't know. Amanda Nowicki says, being in the military, regardless of your race, you get asked, where are you from all the time? And where are you from could be like, I'm from North Carolina. I'm from Alaska. I mean, that's what I love. The lessons from sports and the military. These are the lessons that it doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter. We have to come together. We have to unite to accomplish a goal. And we each have something to contribute. And this is what I've always admired about, which is weird because among certain of my nerd friends, they're like, you're a sports fan? It's like, yes, I like what the message overall of sports, that you can fight through adversity, and it's about character, not necessarily about athletic prowess, although athletic prowess is really, I saw that documentary about Barry Sanders that's on Amazon Prime. Great documentary. I recommend it. There's a video review on the channel, but what I didn't know really much about Barry Sanders' personal life, running back for the Detroit Lions in the 90s. He just fought through adversity, was so humble, and I really didn't know much about him because he was so private. Great doc, but the military and sports are now also being compromised. ESPN is unwatchable. ESPN has gone full on DEI, and it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. Can't we? And this is the thing. We got in a whole conversation last night. I was talking to Baggage Claim and Dante, and we were talking the one thing that bothers me most about where we are in our present day is how little we celebrate how far we've come as a country, how more united we are when we actually talk to each other with respect. I think a lot of racism is pushed on mainstream media, which disgusts me. people like Joy Reid who are unwatchable. I've never watched her show, but I've seen so many clips that, my God, how does she say these things and not get questioned at all? Or so much mainstream media is just straight up racist or pushing racism and division. And so much of it also on social media. It's really disheartening. Thank you, Amanda Nowicki. You always have something to contribute. I appreciate it. Alan, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that things are the worst today than they've ever been has never grown up in the 70s and 80s, or like my parents in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
It was bad then. Today, it's a cakewalk. I mean, the idea of access to opportunity, it's there. It's there for everybody. And much more so than it was back in the day, back when I was a kid trying to get a job out of college. I mentioned my first job interview out of college was with Disney Studios. And if that was today, I would have gotten that job.
Yeah. Hey, Magnum Norse coming in hot with a 20. Says ESPN is owned by Disney. Bob Iger keeps claiming that imprisoning detractors of the regime is a good thing. That's Disney. Well, thank you for that. It's unfortunate. I used to love, because ESPN was just like, let's battle about sports. Let's talk about this or what this team has to do, or this coach or strategy or fallout from something that happened, on the field of play. Like it was great. It was I always wanted to have a show when I used to watch ESPN back in the day, like the 90s. Like I always wanted to have a show. Like, I wonder if we could have a show that like talked about movies and entertainment, but in the same style as ESPN. And that's kind of where we are with YouTube now, right? But it's all disingenuous narratives that are being pushed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Magnum
I mean,
Norse.
politics should be a part of sports. When you're on that field, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican.
You're saying politics should not be a part of sports.
Should not be. Did I say differently?
You said should.
Should not be.
You misspoke.
Yeah. Oh, I spoke too quickly.
Right,
right. But yeah, when you're on the field, it doesn't matter if you're right, you're left, whatever. It's whether you are good at the game and can win for your team.
Yeah. Let's move on. And thank you. That was a really great discussion. We have other movies to discuss and perhaps topics. We'll see. Today got a little derailed. And that's okay. That will happen sometimes on the show. We appreciate
it. And if you
almost 1,500 people watching us live, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, because you're gonna get reviews.
There's actually 1,700 people watching us.
Yes. Alan, how would you rank The Iron Claw among the movies of the year? Alan Ing, I'm calling you out, Alan Ing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely top 5.
It's top 5 of the year for The Iron Claw. The Iron Claw.
Yeah, it'll be. By the way, if you white people need a hug, we'll be in Vegas in April for the Film Threat Meetup. You can get one there.
Yeah, there's a link. There's a link in the description of this channel. Please RSVP for our big party in Vegas. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's pivot next. We have more movies to review. There are other movies to discuss, Alan. This happens.
I actually saw a good one.
Oh, well, let's here. Let me do this because this will be a quick one.
Yeah, there are 2 good ones actually.
I saw a film called The Primevals. What is the movie The Primevals? This is a movie. Okay, they did only 2 screenings in a theater. It was at the Alamo Drafthouse. I saw it on Monday because I wanted to see this on the big screen because it is a stop motion animated film like old Ray Harryhausen movies about a Yeti that is killed in the beginning of the movie that takes a group of explorers on a search to an underground world. Plot wise, it's a lot like these, Doug McClure movies, like At the Earth's Core or The Land That Time Forgot. Like
this movie came out in the 70s. Am I right? Or
no. Let me explain.
Okay.
This movie was shot in 1978. The stop motion animation was not finished until a couple years ago. Through a Kickstarter, it's co-written and directed by a guy named David Allen. It's old school stop motion animation. And I personally love stop motion movies. I mean, I could just go on and on about Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, Will Vinton movies. There's a great Will Vinton feature film that bombed in theaters about, look up Mark Twain, Will Vinton. The entire feature claymation movie is on YouTube for free. I've always loved stop motion. Why do I love stop motion? When I was a kid, I made stop motion movies. When I was 9 years old and all through high school, I made stop motion movies. Maybe this explains a little bit about myself, but I've always loved stop motion. In particular, loved movies like Jason and the Argonauts or the Ray Harryhausen Sinbad movies, which mixed stop motion with live action. One of my favorites of all time is Mysterious Island. Look up Mysterious Island. The Primevals is in that vein, and because it was shot in 1978, it's super cheesy. It is super cheesy, but this is an accomplishment. A movie made in 1978 that you can see now, that was finished recently, a couple years ago. Now it was only in theaters in limited release. It is on the Full Moon Entertainment app, so check it out. The story goes in the most bizarre place ever. So these explorers go on this trip to track down a Yeti. That's kind of how it starts. But then what it does is it goes off on this crazy adventure underneath the earth where they discover a crashed spaceship and a group of lizard aliens. And all of this is stop motion animated. And there's this adventure character that kind of leads our heroes down there. A character named Matthew Connor, who's a scientist, and Claire Collier, who is also a scientist and financier. She's an older woman who is funding this expedition. Kathleen Rydell. But my favorite is a guy, this actor's named Leon Russum. He plays a character named Rondo Montana. Now, this movie was shot before Indiana Jones came out. He's Rondo Montana, adventure, good with a knife and a shotgun. It's like the movie is kind of out of time. And sometimes you're not cringing so much as laughing at, like, these are all cliches, but they're funny because the movie takes itself very seriously, but also not so seriously because of just the ridiculous circumstances. I love the way they finish the film. I wonder if we can look at a trailer real quick of the film to just give you a taste of it. It's from Full Moon Entertainment. I'm going to throw on.
Yeah,
I want you to see it. I really
she also
want
mentioned it. It stars Juliette Mills from
yes.
Nanny and the Professor.
Yeah, so I'm going to play it here. Alan, could you mute me while we watch the trailer? Okay, cool. Here we go.
Oh, you got to put the trailer on. You got to share it with the rest of us.
Yeah, I should
so that
share
we can
the trailer
all
before.
Experience it together.
Alan, this is why I love working with Alan. He makes me look good. Thank you, Alan.
Oh, you're welcome.
Alan.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
yeah. We're going to share it. We're going to go. No, we're going to go like that. And here.
Hit play. Okay. Do you have sound working or is your sound muted? Because we're not.
Yeah, it's.
That's the
anyways,
trailer.
We could go through it.
That's not the trailer.
This is. It's the early footage from the movie.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't look like the movie I saw.
Yeah. You know what? I'll look it up. But I really, really love this film. And but it's like I mean, look, it's cheesy. There's no getting around. It's cheesy. Yeah, but it reminds me of the type of movie that they just don't make this movie anymore. Right? It played Fantasia Fest, which is really cool. Let's watch this trailer now.
Okay, you still have to share it.
4 weeks ago, several Nepalese shepherds killed a large.
Otherwise, we're just listening to the audio.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alan. I'm sorry. I should learn.
Excuse me of watching. I'm just watching the stream.
If anyone has any YouTube tips on how I can do better at this job, Please.
Yeah, I could say hit the share button.
Did I hit it?
Okay. Yeah. There you go. We're good.
My apologies, folks.
I'll go full screen.
Okay, we're gonna go full screen. All right, let's just watch this from the beginning.
4 weeks ago, several Nepalese shepherds killed a large anthropoid. It is perhaps the most important discovery of the century.
Nice speech.
Matt.
If we can discover how this creature crossed the genetic barrier from one life form to another, we'll unlock the mysteries of heredity.
You know you can't answer those questions without a living specimen.
Which requires an expedition.
What are you two after? Tigers? Buffalo?
Something even more dangerous.
We're searching for a Yeti.
Yeti attacks suddenly, viciously.
It's too dangerous to travel by night in these mountains. But we've come too far to lose them now! Avalanche!
They must have been living here unchanged for 50,000 years.
Life forms developing in a controlled environment. Hundreds of centuries are looking down at us.
Nothing!
So
yeah, that's pretty good.
No,
Yeah,
look, it's like an older sci-fi movie that I used to watch, the kind I used to watch when I was a kid. I personally, I love those. So it's on the Full Moon app, is my understanding. I needed to see this movie in a theater. It was just because I just saw stills from the movie. I didn't even watch that trailer, and I bought tickets immediately to see it because that needs to be seen on the big screen.
I mean, I say when I saw it like a couple months ago, but I thought it was just a 4K restoration. I didn't realize it was to complete the animation, and the animation, considering how things have come 40 years, was actually pretty good in terms of replicating that Harryhausen style and the just the motion of it, much more defined in this one. So
Yeah, no, I love movies like this. It is, I do know it is cheesy. Yes, it's cheesy, but like there's a sort of innocence about the storytelling. And I strongly recommend Primevals if it's the type of film that would appeal to you.
I was saying that is that stereotypical 80s heroic white guy.
Well, 80s, I mean, from just like 70s, a certain era, but like, yeah, I love the name of the character, Rondo. And as soon as you saw him, he's got these big pit stains, while he's like,
his hair is always
in the canoe. His hair is sort of coiffed a certain way. I mean, yes, there's a ridiculousness to those kind of movies, but I really love it. And the fact that it has that old school look, and it looked amazing in 4K. It was just like beautiful looking film. Let's go to your comments and questions. We have some quick comments here, and we have more films to review. And I got to make a change on something that I promised, and my apologies. Alan Horkin says, looks like something off of the Sci-Fi Channel. Nothing wrong with that. I love the Sci-Fi Channel movies. Sharktopus versus, Kara, hey, is that Carolyn? I don't know.
No,
Chris Gore, if you like films like that, you can try Sesta do Praveku 1955 by Carol Zemon. All right, I'm going to look that up. What is it? It's Zesta
do Praveku.
Is that the American title?
I have no idea.
A Journey to the Beginning of Time. Yeah. These are movies that, oh, wow. Okay, I'm adding that to my list. It's on Amazon Prime. Thank you for the suggestion. Appreciate that. From Rumble, Lord Shax, Land. This is great. The Land of No Cost. But stop motion is expensive. So where can you find this, Chris? It is on the Full Moon Entertainment app, which is like $5 a month. And I am a subscriber. Not only does the Full Moon Entertainment app have like all the Puppet Master movies, a ton of the other stuff that like Trancers, among other Full Moon films. This movie's on it, and they put on new stuff every month. So they're constantly getting new. It's a lot of exploitation movies and Italian exploitation movies. Go down that rabbit hole.
A lot of women in prison movies.
Yes, a lot of those. From Rumble, $8.24. This sounds like the Mad God sequel. Mad God was made by Phil Tippett over the course of 30 years, and this is like that kind of film. Like, it was originally shot in 1978, not finished until recently, and it's great that we all get to see it. So I really appreciate it. And Gabriella Condor sends in 20 euros super sticker. Thank you for that. And a question here from Oryx221 says, have either of you seen Christiane F 1981? Recently saw this and loved it. Can you recommend other films in nature? I may have seen Christiane F back when it first came out, and I don't even really have much of a recollection of it. So, yeah, I mean, I really don't know what to say. My apologies. Not prepared for that question. But Christiane F is a 1981 German biographical film directed by Uli Edel that portrays the descent of Christiane Felschner. It's and there you go. I could not pronounce that name. My apologies. Other recommended films: Beautiful Boy, which is a movie that I have seen from 2018. Timothy Chalamet is in that film. Beautiful Boy. Check that out. Other films in the same vein: 13, The Virgin Suicides, Mysterious Skin. I've seen Beautiful Boy, tragic film, great performance by Timothy Chalamet, and almost no one saw that movie, unfortunately. So there you go. Thank you for the super chat there. All right, pivoting now, because Alan, we got, and my apologies, folks. Friday can sometimes be like we're trying to talk about a lot of movies. What would you like to talk about, Alan?
Yeah, let's do Arthur the King.
Arthur the King. Alan, tell us about Arthur the King.
Yeah, so this is the story of Mark Wahlberg plays Michael. He is every year he participates in the adventure race, which I never knew was a thing, but it's a thing. For many years he's been competing in it, always coming in second place, never coming in first. And in the his last race, he pushes his team too hard. He doesn't listen to anybody just solely on the pursuit of winning. And he loses. He doesn't even finish the race. And so he's kind of outcast, ejected. A couple of years later, he's a failed real estate agent. And he talks to his wife and tells her, who used to be on the team, that he has one more race in him and that this is going to be the last one. And so he has to humble himself and pull a team together. And part of that team has to include his old teammate, Leo, who's played by Simu Liu. And he has to kind of basically bring him on because he's now a social influencer. And the sponsors won't fund him unless he does it. So cut to present time where he is on the race. And, they're doing pretty good, but not doing great. And they're taking a bunch of shortcuts, which puts them in harrowing situations. But along the way, a little dog follows them, and they dub him Arthur. And at one point, Arthur saves the life of Leo, who was about to walk off a cliff. But yeah, there's that sound again. You hear that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah. Okay. Why am I not? I'll just. I thought
those are your notifications. Yeah. So Arthur saves Leo's life, and they make him part of the team. And so it's a sports film, and it has a dog in it, which means it's a family film. And this movie is actually pretty good. It's just a very heartwarming story. It's about humbling yourself, being a team, and enduring pain and awful situations to ultimately win. It's also about teamwork, being there for your team. There's one point where the team is forced to abandon Arthur as they paddle across the sea, and can they leave him behind? I don't know. Watch the film. But there's a couple weird things. One is, if you've ever seen the sketch on Saturday Night Live where Andy Samberg plays Mark Wahlberg and he talks to a goat, when you see Mark Wahlberg talk to Arthur, it's just like that sketch. This is very much a Mark Wahlberg movie. I really like this film. I think it's great for the family. If you have kids, pack them up. This is the movie to take them to. It's not boring for adults. It's just, it's everything you want in a good, wholesome movie, and that's what this is. Regarding race swapping, it's the original team is not from America. They're from Sweden, and they were all 4 Swedish people. And so, yes, so there's a bit of race swapping to make the diverse team they had. Natalie Emmanuel from House of Game of Thrones is in the movie as well, part of the team. But overall, very good movie. So I would highly recommend it. What are you doing?
I look.
You gotta turn your sound effects off on your computer.
Oh, is it okay? I don't know how to do that. I just got a new computer.
Okay.
How do I do it?
I have no idea.
Well, there you go. First of all, Arthur the King. I saw the trailer. It looks very heartwarming. It almost looks like one of those Angel Studios types of films. And I do like Mark Wahlberg. So, I will.
Yeah, he's been kind of on this kick to make nothing but wholesome family films, and this is certainly a part of that. And it's a true story, except for the fact that they're from the original runners are from Sweden, but for the most part, they get the themes of that. And honestly, I don't know why people hate Simu so much, but he's actually pretty good in this movie.
What, Simu Liu?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because he's annoying on social media.
Yeah.
And he says really dumb things in the press. That's why people don't like him.
I know, but that's he's a Canadian. What can you
don't take it personal, Alan.
I know. My people.
What? Let's go to some comments here. Uncle Remus, who's a member, says, please tell me the dog doesn't die in the end. I hate that. And Amanda Nowicki says, Arthur went on to compete in other races before passing away in 2020.
Oh, you just gave it away now.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
But there's a story to all of that, him surviving, because he was, it all takes place in the Dominican Republic, and he was pretty much beaten and abused before he came to be part of the team.
And real quick, one, I need to figure out how to turn off all notification sound effects on my computer. So sorry, but I did, all this stuff is happening with Sweet Baby Inc., the company. I used to work on a video game magazine in the 90s. I was the editor of a video games magazine, and I looked up a bunch of the old video game magazines. We were constantly fighting the violence in video games. The government was trying to ban violent video games at the time. I wrote articles and editorials about it. And the sound effect has to do with the fact that I was like, I got all the magazines. I scanned the pictures so I can share it with you. And I was prepping to do a segment. I am not going to be able to do that segment today, but I have a lot to say about the Sweet Baby Inc. situation. And I'm going to save it for next Wednesday, because I really want to be able to share all of this with you. And I want to be able to do it. I thought, well, I'll prep it. I'll just prep it in the morning. And I'm trying to do too much. So I want to apologize to everyone watching today and say, wait till next Wednesday's show. We're going to discuss it. We're going to go all in on the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff. You're going to hear what I have to say. You're going to hear how I got involved in a story that was in the national news. It was in the New York Times, all in the 90s. Me battling a politician in California who was trying to ban violent video games like Mortal Kombat. I have receipts. I have you're not going to believe it when I show you all this stuff.
Can you say which politician it was?
Daniel Lundgren, who was the Attorney General of the state of California, who was prepping a run for governor.
Yeah, he was my congressman.
Yeah, it was Daniel Lundgren, and I will tell you everything next week, because in order for me to properly do a segment on this, I have to prep for it. I need to show you screenshots. And I was during the show, I was texting myself. Everyone thinks I'm like, I was texting because I should have just used AirDrop. What can I say? But even then that would have, anyways. So I'm sorry, folks. I was boomering it. So yeah. Yeah. So look, next week I will be well prepared, no sound effects, and we're going to talk about it because I don't think the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff is going away. This is Gamergate 2.0, Revenge of the Gamers, or the Gamers Strike Back. And Manny Lamont says, I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, says JTPRX. And whenever I see that, I have to say it. Couple super chats here from Taker610 for 2 says, Chris, Kang as in Jonathan Majors. Haha. I thought
the jobless one.
Oh,
we thought it was Dante that they were fans.
We thought it was Dante, but that's because that's our soft racism right there from both Alan and I. So Taker610, thank you for that. Kang the jobless. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think Dante would have made a better Kang than Jonathan Majors. The night clerk for 5 just got notified, and I'm going to time travel to the beginning of the stream. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, the night clerk. We appreciate you. Hopefully you catch up and see your super chat. Alan, you have more films to review. So I'm just teasing you with what we're going to talk about next week when it comes to Sweet Baby, because I need receipts. I need to show you things, and there you. But we're going to save it for next week. And I'm going to walk you through a bunch of different topics. It's going to be Dr. Gonzo, see you in Vegas. It's the Chris Files. But I got in a very public fight with Dan Lundgren, who threatened to ban violent video games in the state of California.
Yeah. Like I said, he was my congressman for a while.
Magnum Norse for 10 says, to stray from politics, when do you think G&G or Nerdrotic will stop putting SS teats on the thumbnail? I say May-ish. What's SS? Magnum Norse, please just reply. You don't need to do a super chat. Sometimes when people like TBH, I TLDR'd I think he means Sweet Baby tweets on
that would be SBI then. SS tweets.
Gore the Baby Butcher. What are we talking about, Patrick Lemire? I just want to be able to have the conversation. Sometimes people get, Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney. Yes, you. I love Sydney Sweeney. I think she's really smart. I
love her too.
Read the chat, Chris. I do. I've got the chat up right now, Flav. Sydney Sweeney she's a woman who understands the audience who gives her money. And I think she is beloved for that. And she starred in, arguably one of the worst films of the year. And Solomon Thornton says Sydney Sweeney is quite equipped. There's nothing wrong with Sydney Sweeney, but here's what's different about Sydney Sweeney. She is a young actress who has a production company, and she develops material for herself. Gunho Mac asks, is the Film Threat Meetup separate from FNT? There's no sign-up link. There is a sign-up link. Here's the sign-up link, which is in the description. I'll put it in the chat. Hopefully you can just click on it. Please just go to the sign-up link and sign up. This is probably why. Okay, so the link is in the description to sign up, as far as I know.
But only sign up if you can go.
Please only sign up because we have limited slots.
We need as accurate a head count as we can possibly get.
So please put the link in the description. I'll put the link in the here. Please, yeah, there you go. It's also on the community tab on the Film Threat YouTube channel. I tend to be very thorough about this stuff. I'm really thorough about this stuff. So there you go. We have one more film to review. No, but it's yeah, like it's sorry.
You okay?
Yes. Can you add the link
here
to
we
the
go.
critic?
Yeah. So Magnum North says she's a woman who owns her own company. Feminists, take notice and stop complaining, please.
Okay, Magnum North, let me just jump on that. For everyone who complains, I didn't get the opportunity. This thing didn't happen. Look, the marketplace of entertainment is very democratic. Things that people like, lots of people who like things, that makes money. And if people don't like things, they don't give you money. It's very democratic. The true sense of the word democratic. So she's a woman who owns her own company. Feminists, take notice and stop complaining, please. Magnum North says that. Absolutely. You know, I didn't complain that no one let me make a documentary about. I didn't complain. I just did it. You know, and you know, look, a crowdfund will tell you, it'll give you some sense of how many people want the thing that you're doing. Sons and Shadows says,
how's your feed, by the way? Are you
you take opportunities, you don't wait for them, says Sons and Shadows.
Yeah. I mean, her production company produced Anyone But You.
And she developed it for herself.
Yeah. Because that's the only way you're going to get stuff made in Hollywood. If you're
it's the only way. Tom Cruise, why does Tom Cruise have such a successful career? There are two reasons. There's probably more than two, but I'm going to give you the two reasons. One, he understands and appreciates his audience.
Mm-hmm.
He understands and appreciates his audience. Number one, he knows who he is doing all of this for. He is thinking in his mind the entire time, who is the audience? Who is the audience? I need to entertain them. I need to make something that they will like and possibly want to give me money for. The second thing Tom Cruise did, he started a production company to develop movies that he could star in, and keeping that main philosophy in mind. Do you know who else did that? Sydney Sweeney. So maybe Glenn clipped this as a Sydney Sweeney so that we can get some of that SS money, so to speak.
Yes.
But that's, yeah, I mean, she's copying Margot Robbie's model. It's not Margot Robbie's model, Flav. It is a model that will lead to success. Start your own company. There's nothing stopping any of you even watching this. Start a production company and start reading scripts. You are soliciting scripts. You can go to a website.
This is what actors who can't find work do. They make their own stuff. Reese Witherspoon just started buying books or optioning books and started making money that way.
Yeah. You can start a production company. And what do? One of the things you can do is say, I have a production company, send me scripts. Or you can go to a website called inktip.com. Inktip.com connects producers with screenplays. So you say, I have a production company. I am looking for romantic comedies star. You can even give sort of basic, like, you know, like description of the kinds of movies you'd like to make. You will be flooded with scripts. Then what you need to do is read those scripts. And then what you need to do is connect that script with talent. Then after you connect the script with the talent, you find the money based on that package. This is how it's done. Anyone can do it. No one's stopping you. No one is stopping you. Latino Slant, my buddy Paulie, says, seriously, she's bigger than Margot right now, and her last film, Madam, was a flop. He's got a great attitude and is about entertaining.
Bigger than Margot in what way? I wonder, Paulie, what were you thinking? I'm
trying to find the right video. Trying to find. We have too many videos here. I love breasts. Women look at other women's breasts. Gay men love breasts. One thing that could unite the world is breasts and cleavage. I really believe that. I truly believe in breasts. That was fun. Hey, Magnum Norris, I was talking to feminists, not you, Frank. Yes, no, I understood.
Yeah,
I understood.
we understood.
I understood your statement. Feminists, like they want to complain or like the world's against them, the patriarchy is trying to stop me. No one is trying to stop you. If anything, you could talk about, male privilege all you want. There's a very good argument to be made that women are more privileged in other ways. I think that also men and women, that you need to have the understanding that men and women are different, and that is okay. We come equipped with different strengths and weaknesses. So, and they are complementary. And her attitude, from her SNL appearance to her attitude towards the box office failure, she came out a win. And then you compare that with someone like a Brie Larson, who is incredibly insecure and kind of, you can see
a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a chip. There might be a little bit of a chip, but Magnum Norris, I understood exactly what you were saying, and appreciate you. Thank you for that.
I mean, look, Immaculate. I don't know anything about Immaculate. All I know is she's in it, and that's what's exciting people about seeing that movie.
Yeah. Not just that. We need a sound effect.
Bloop.
Wait, I'm trying to see if I have. Do we still have this video? No, we don't. Actually. All right, we had too much. All right, we gotta. Okay, one final movie to review.
Yeah.
What's that, Alan?
The documentary Remembering Gene Wilder. This is a fairly straightforward documentary, but I've always been a fan of Gene Wilder. I've admired him since first seeing him in not only Blazing Saddles, but The Producers, High Anxiety. No, not High Anxiety. I'm sorry. It's The Last Lover or something like that, where he kind of plays a knockoff Rudy Valentino. Young Frankenstein. The guy is a comedic genius, and this just follows his story from his first start, his big break when he was starring in a play with Anne Bancroft and met Mel Brooks. From there, they made The Producers, and Mel fought hard for Gene to be part of it, and fought hard to convince Zero Mostel to perform next to him. And look, the guy is, I don't think from the outset he's necessarily a funny guy in terms of his personal life, but he's very smart and he understands entertainment. He understands theater, and it just follows his career. And this is a guy who really has no baggage. I don't think. I think the only baggage he had in his life was the fact that his mother had a stroke early on in life, and the only thing he could do to make his mother happy was to make her laugh. And his entire life was basically about making his mother laugh. And then it just goes on to how this relationship with Mel grew, and then how he grew as a performer, and then all the films he made. And then then there's that chapter of his life where he falls in love with Gilda Radner. He's kind of the one who grounded her in terms of her all the problems she had in her life, and then dying to cancer. And then finally ending with his fight with Alzheimer's and or dementia. I believe it was dementia. And look, he's a genius. This is just one of those stories of a great man that just continues to build and escalate and just show you just what a great man this was from beginning to end. And so highly recommended. Remembering Gene Wilder. A lot of people loved him, and they're all in this movie.
First of all, Gene Wilder, think of the iconic performances. He was not a traditionally good-looking man. He was attractive, but in an odd way, especially with the wispy hair. And everything from being in films like, I remember Silver Streak, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because he talks about his relationship with Richard Pryor. It's like they didn't necessarily get along in their personal life, but they understood how brilliant they were together. And that was their relationship.
His performance as Willy Wonka and Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, World's Greatest Lover. That was the other one.
World's Greatest Lover. Young Frankenstein, which was crazy. I saw as a kid. Didn't quite
There's
understand.
a funny story in there where he wrote the script for Young Frankenstein and went to Mel Brooks and said, I want you to direct it, but I don't want you to be in it.
But he wanted to star in it.
Yeah.
He wanted to star in it.
Yeah.
I love Young Frankenstein. It's awesome. But look, this was on my list to see. I'm glad you got to see it so that, and I'm glad it turned out as well. Last super chat here from Bush and Ryu Cat for 20. Chris, sorry I missed your review of Magical Negroes with Dante. Before I replay, as a mixed race, mom, black, dad white, even my kind feel too self-conscious and feel whites are the cause. The movie was made by a self-conscious man. Sad. You'll see the discussion. A lot of it ties into a lot of attitudes about Gen Z. We're going to leave it there for now. Alan and I will be back on Monday with Versus. Guess who's going to be on Versus? We're talking about the American Society of Magical Negroes on Versus with a very diverse group of people. So join us on Versus on Monday. We'll be back on Wednesday with Hollywood on the Rocks. We're going to be talking about Sweet Baby. I have my video game story to tell. And then on Friday next week, it's Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. We will be back. Alan, anything else?
Yeah, I think nope. Oh, yeah. If you're in San Diego, I'm performing tomorrow night at the National Comedy Theater at 7:30.
Awesome. And I want to thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, Latino Slant, Ms. P Coffee, and Glenn Brown, our producer. All right. I'm also seeing Immaculate, so I will have a review probably on Wednesday. I'll have a review. It's going to be big. It's going to be big next week.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm using the word big, but I am. Alan?
Let's get out of here.